Hey, we're back. We're live and a bit of a fun one on this Friday. Hi, my name is Wayne Pelletier. I go live here 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm in the Atlanta area. That just kind of works for me. So we just launched a new website, and I know that's nothing new. We launch lots of websites every month. It's usually a website a week. It's a lot of websites. But this one was an interesting challenge and a really interesting exercise, considering how thorough the brand is and what we were setting out to do. And it's a community I've been a member of for 5 years, so it is near and dear to my heart. So I thought sometimes we don't always have a chance to case study. It just moves so fast and there's so much to do, and I'm terrible at writing case studies. I thought this would be an opportunity to start a new series where we review a redesign of a website to talk about some of the thoughts behind it. And this one had a lot of thoughts. And considering that it's quite visible, I thought, well, this is a pretty cool opportunity to get started with. So I'm going to share my screen. The client in this case is the Bureau of Digital, and they're rebranding to drop digital from their name, and they have a great logo, or had a great logo, in this shield. And they had this website on an old, probably 8 or so year old instance on Squarespace 7.0, and you can see the grid discipline is very templated, and there's lots of small type. This is common coming out of Web 2.0, where a lot of templates went when it comes to design in general for websites. Now, what we had was a really amazing new brand created for the community. And Carl Smith, who runs the community and owns the business, is really creative thinker. He probably wouldn't say that about himself, but he's very creative, very collaborative, and just super generous. And the idea was to double down on the community from a warmth and safety, from a lot of standpoints. And you can see bold typography, illustration right off of the bat over here, so you know this is not going to be stock photography led. And I'm not going to walk through this, there's only a couple. So gone is the shield, and this bird mark has come in, and there's lots of creative iterations of the bird. And I'm not getting into that. Our friends at Focus Lab created this brand, and it's amazing. A couple things jumped out to me immediately upon seeing this and thinking about how to take this to an interactive space like the web. And the number of colors jumped out at me immediately. This is the type of thing that you either have to be highly disciplined in executing or extremely low disciplined and let the depth of color here just chaos reign and let it run and do its thing. And that's kind of where we went, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But I love just how awesome this color palette is. There's a ton of great color here, and this brand guide is great because it shows different color pairings. Some are monochromatic and obvious, and others maybe not so much, but definitely these color combinations and patterns really stood out to me as an opportunity to be vibrant in a way that the old website couldn't. And that includes the flexibility of their logo mark. So when I started seeing some of these, and then obviously there are contrast rules here. Anytime you have a large palette, this is critically important. So of course, a team as talented as Focus Lab put that in here. I'm not going to dive too far into the typography, though I do love this font, VC Nudge. I wanted to get into some of how these things are used. This feather trail breakdown, with the horizontal rounded end rectangles is just a massive opportunity to be creative. So we took this brand and considered a couple of things. One, I hit it on the old website. Birds, like agency leaders in their community, love to feel safe. They don't stop moving. There's a lot of parallels there. And I thought about that going in. So when we redesigned the website, and here we are on the new website, new domain, new logo, new brand entirely. Gone are the stock photography images. Gone are the micro icons that I don't know they ever really build the pattern that we think they do sometimes as designers or design leaders. So one of the things right out of the gate I wanted to incorporate was massive typography. In your face, bold. These are agency folks. They know what they're looking at. They know that a link that skips down on the page to a section is called an anchor link. These are knowledgeable people. So there's no need to dance around the subject here. And the copy is absolutely in your face. It is plain. It is wonderful. It is clear. And large typography really was going to be the way to stick the landing on that. And the birds. There are lots of versions of the birds. What I wanted was the birds to fly away as you scroll. Right off of the bat, I wanted the birds to fly. That was always going to be something that was going to happen. And I wanted hovers for the buttons. And I wanted this feather, which was in the brand guidelines. And it looked different in the brand guideline. But I wanted this to be part of the design in a way that was interactive. It's sticky. It makes you stop and say, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. So sometimes, it's a bit of a metaphor. Sometimes we, as humans, and I know I've done this a million times, can take for granted things that we interact with all the time or don't interact with enough. And the assistance that community gives us, not just as leaders or as digital marketers or whatever it is that we do, that community provides us is tremendous. And I'm constantly surprised inside of the community by how much I learn just participating in Slack. And this is not necessarily an advertisement for the Bureau community. This is to say we can use brand assets to build metaphors and communicate the point very clearly and be interactive in a way that can drive home a comfort level or a familiarity or build an analogy, right? So I think that we did that here, and we tried to do this in a way that was obvious and clear, and I think we kind of hit on it here. And there are quite a few pages on this site. And one thing that we didn't want to do with this site that the old site absolutely sticks to is use a template. So we started with a blank page, complete blank slate. And as a member of the Circle community in the Squarespace developer designer community, I have access to a completely blank template or theme, call it what you want. And that is where we started with this. So every page, though we did develop patterns like this header here in the secondary pages, we developed patterns where there's bird behind the typography and it flies away, and then we have massive type on this page. Every page is designed uniquely so that the content itself jumps out. It serves the content on the page instead of the content serving the template. That was critically important from the get. There's no world in here in where we fit things in just because that was the template and the way things are supposed to be built. We did create patterns so that the hero image here looks just like the hero image on this insights page. We changed color and we changed the birds so that the appropriate amount of contrast is there for us. And some pages have large type and other pages don't have such large type. And these are anchors down to the section where the list of the jobs, sort of like a subnav. So we wanted to build patterns, but we also wanted to have the flexibility to be able to do and say whatever we want on these pages, however we wanted to do it. So each page communicates kind of in its own way, including this absolutely insane Wall of Love page. Testimonials have an important job to do. You can only read so many testimonials before they all kind of sounding the same. So what can we do to make this page interactive in a way that as you scroll down, you're like, okay, I get it. There's a ton of love for this community out there. So we tried to do this in a way that was interactive and playful and honored the content of our incredible attendees for our events and our community members. And honestly, tried to reflect the creativity of the people in the community in general in a way that I hope we were able to convey. So I'll click on this brain guy. And we pulled forward a bunch of blog posts. We pulled forward all of the events, and the events all have their own pages and follow a theme, including a subnav where you can get your tickets for your event. This one's sold out. So anyway, that is just some of the thinking behind this site, and I wanted to take a few minutes to hover over it. And now my face is red because this page is red. That's amazing. And spend a few minutes with that just to show some of the thoughts behind it and what that can look like to make that transition from old website that is in desperate need of an update and not serving the business incredibly well anymore to having completed an amazing brand generation process with a company as talented as Focus Lab. And then how do we take that to the interactive space? And I think we did that. We're getting a lot of love today because that's what happens on launch day. But in general, just an incredible project, a ton of fun. We did leverage I know there were several moments in there. If you're watching this and you're 13 minutes in, thank you. Like and subscribe, totally like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. It helps a lot. And leave a comment. If you think the work was trash, that's fine. If you love the work, leave a comment. I would be so grateful for that. We leveraged a plugin called Square Kicker. I know you probably looked at that and said, hey, Squarespace doesn't do that. I think there's some misconceptions around what it does and doesn't do, what it can and can't do. And the Fluid Engine page builder is so incredibly flexible. I don't feel like there's anything I can't create inside of there. And then when you add the Square Kicker plugin, which basically adds most of the features in an app like Framer, holy cow, you can do a lot of stuff in there. So anyway, I hope this was informative and creative and fun. And I will see you back here Monday, 11 a.m. I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. You're incredible. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Bye.